Hey everybody, it's Jen from Caketastic Cakes, and I'm going to show you how I made a sans cake from the video game Undertale. And I included a glowing eye with this cake because I thought it would be more fun. And so this was a live stream I did for a website called Game Jolt, and I cross-streamed it onto YouTube. So the full stream is online if you want to put the time in. But here's the meat of it right here. To make this cake, I started with a ball cake for his head, and I'm going to have just a regular layered cake you'll see soon for the bottom. I cut two little niches out on either side and then just patched them up with ice cream. Because if you look at Sans' head, he's a skull, of course, so he's got like pretty good sized indentations. See? Kind of like that. Now, as far as the other cake, I just had, as you can see, 3 tiers. These were 6-inch tiers. And I trimmed it off to make it so it was smaller at the top and kind of more pot-belly shape because the character Sans seems to be a little bit more of a chunky fella. So I was trying to keep that kind of the bigger belly in the front look. So you can see I rounded it off, roughly, and then patched it up as best I could with the icing. And as far as the icing for both the head and the body, I just did a nice thick crumb coat, stuck them in the refrigerator for a good half hour, and then let them set up and get nice and firm. This view might be a little awkward, but it's so you can kind of see the side, but you can definitely see the front here. So I'm going to switch back and forth as I go. But anyway, I have some blue fondant that I rolled out, and I wrapped it around the majority of his body. I have a little piece of white fondant that for some reason I didn't have recorded me putting it on there. I don't know what happened to that one. Maybe I did it off screen or something. But I wrapped it around, trim off the extra, and then using an X-Acto knife, I'm going down the front and kind of curving it so it comes together a little bit at the bottom more and a little bit wider open at the top. See how I have it right there? See how I'm gesturing? Just like that. And now I'm going to make his pockets. These are just thicker pieces of fondant. I make a curve and then kind of like really just a rectangle or a square with just a nice curve on the one side. And I had to retrim it a little bit to make it fit, but once I had the right side, I just flipped over my first one and then used it as a template to make the other pockets. So that way they were the same size, same shape. And once I had those done, then if you need to stick them on with a little bit of water, you can go right ahead. Otherwise, this was sticking without any problem for me. So far I haven't used any water or anything. So yeah, just press it into place. Now he's got pockets. See? Just like that. Now I'm going to use my veining tool here and make some indentations in the fondant just to outline his clothing a little bit, make it look a little more sweatery or hoodie. Hood-y, I guess you could say. So I trim along, I make an indentation around the bottom. You can see I went over each pocket. And now I'm going to make the zipper for his jacket or hoodie, whatever it is. So I rolled out some gray fondant, nice and thin. Actually, it was a little on the thicker side, but it was still kind of thin. And just cut out a long rectangle, match it up, just make sure you tuck it in right against the edge of your blue so it follows the curve. Trim off the extra, nothing fancy here. Using the back of my knife, I'm making some indentations. I'm keeping them nice and gapped because he's a pixelated character, and pretty much anything you do, as long as you have the colors and the overall shape right, it's going to be fine. Once again, making a few more indentations alongside the zipper, and yeah. Okay, now for his head. I'm covering his head with some white fondant. I just rolled it over, as you can see. I'm tucking it in as much as I can. I'm going to trim off the extra, and the little bit of extra that's underneath I'm not really that worried about because I'm just going to kind of fold it under. I make sure to go inside those indentations, and I rolled this thick. I didn't mention that before, but I rolled it thick in order to make the eyes. Now, his head, I admit, is kind of wonky shaped. I should have followed a template, like cut out a picture and followed it better. If I had to redo this, I would make his head bigger, and I would cut out a template so I could actually follow the proper shape of it. But this is what I did, so here's where I'm at. I always say the first cake you make is always the roughest. Once you make it once, if you never make it again, it's going to come out so much better. So anyway, I hollowed out his nose. It's like an upside down V. Hollowed out his mouth. I put 2 extra little pieces of fondant on each end of his mouth to give him more of his cheekbones and kind of blended it in. Fill in his nose with some black fondant. Fill in his eyes with some black fondant. Just like that. Do the other one too. Now I put a little white dot here on the one eye. The other eye I'm going to have the light in it. And it turns out that I was wrong to do that. The kids who were watching this made very sure to let me know that I should not have added that white dot. When he goes into attack mode and his eye glows blue, he does not have the white pupil in his other eye. So if the purists are going to be at your party, consider that little tidbit. All right, his arms are just pieces of fondant. As you can see, kind of tapered off at the one end, rounded at the other. I put a couple indentations in the elbows and just matched it up to the pocket, so it looks like his hands are in his pocket. To support his head, I put one wooden dowel in there. He has a cake plate under his head. I could have used more, but I didn't have any more. I was not prepared for this, so yeah, I did the best I could. Now you can see I've got some gray fondant, that same gray for the zipper, that I'm laying over top of his head for his hood. I'm going to end up patting it out with some paper towels in order to make it not quite so wrinkly. And as far as the light, here's what I did. I used a straw, just a straw I got from like McDonald's or something, pushed it all the way through his head, pulled it out, got the cake out of the straw, put it back in. So now I've got an empty tube going straight through his head. Yeah, there you can see it in the back, the straw sticking a little bit in the back. I had a piece of an old Halloween decoration that was basically a light on a wire with one of those little click buttons you get at the dollar store. And yeah, there it is. So when you turn it on, it looks super cool, right? It was a lot of fun to do, and I hope you found this helpful. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe because it really does help me out. I've got a lot of other videos out there as well, so take a look. And as always, thank you for watching Caketastic Cakes.